to become somebody who's so wildly talented and so wildly loved and have this beautiful family and this beautiful child and this incredible career, and to be so just beautiful and revered, like that is possible. And I think on the other hand, also for people that whether they're going through their own and just want to step on somebody's neck, or they're just so misguided that they're just going to say something cool because it's going to make that person seem cool.
Right.
Or they really are just like a deeply troubled mother who just like enjoys watching other people suffer, or they just want to go along with the status quo, whatever it is. Like these things have like real lasting impact. But I think it's also like be on the hunt, man. Like be on the hunt for it. Like find the kid that's being made feel that way, and be the person that goes and stands by that kid. Like be the person that like squashes that. Like be that sheepdog. Like that is your, like that is what you do on this planet.
I think giving it a, like there's a big difference between like fighting for yourself and fighting for a cause,
or
right?
standing up for somebody else is way easier than standing up for yourself.
Or it gives you something back, right? It's not just survival, it's, you know, it's defense, it's you know, it's being a hero, you know. And so I do love that idea, you know, like it's that great show Pen 15. That show I can watch even though I relate to it, but there's a part of me that's like, but they had each other, right? Like that's what made so much of that bullying and that experience of that show survivable, is they had someone else. And so that's the one thing I would have wanted, was like one buddy. And there probably were people who would be, but I was just so afraid at the time that I couldn't even reach out, you know, to anyone to kind of make that happen. But so I think, teaching our kids to be the compassionate person who steps forward for others. You know, if it turns out that, you know, my kid is in my position, just try him a full sense of self, that it's okay to be uniquely you, whoever that is, right? Unabashedly, uniquely you. And I know that's what got me in trouble, but I don't know. I just want to continue to like say that to him and say that to other kids in his class, and like, you know, hope that as parents who have been through that we can kind of raise our kids to be aware of it when it happens. Because like almost like what you just said, that if there's a kid who's like, oh, it'll just make my buddy laugh if I prank phone call this kid. You know, and for them, it's nothing. They just don't think it has any impact whatsoever. They just think it's a laugh one night with their friends and they'll forget about it in a month. But it might have a lasting impact for that other person. Just implanting in their mind that it might have more meaning than you think.
And I think to take a step further, that like that one little question, that one little hesitation, like, is that a thing to do? Or to see it in your homeboy and be like, you know, like, why does he want to hurt this mother? And like that right there, like whatever you want to call it, whether it's like from God or from whatever, but like a spark of empathy, a spark of compassion. If you then act on it and say, dude, like, why are you doing that? No, don't do that. Like that is such an opportunity. And that's,
so I guess if I were talking to anyone who has been a bully or has, you know, in a bad moment said something cruel to someone else or done something to be funny at the expense of someone else, anyone who's been in that position. And you know what? I bet more of us have than have not. I've done it, right? We've all succumbed to that place because society is impossible. But it's just to go, all right, you've made that mistake, move on and be better, right? Learn from that and know that what we say and the things that we do have consequences and repercussions for others. And if you feel like you can, just get sorry, you know, like I was such an idiot when I said that. And I know so much better now. And frankly, I knew better then and I succumbed and I'm so sorry. We are not infallible people. We are very, very fallible, especially when it comes to those societal striations. And so, yes, I guess that's grace. I don't think that these were bad people. I just think that sometimes the world sucks and these very human pressures that we put on ourselves. But then again, like I said, I'm the kind of person, I prefer to see the best in people. I prefer to assume the best in people. So that's my assumption of back then, that this was never a targeted, mean, malicious thing. It was mean, but not necessarily mean people. But I don't know.
I think we all are stuck in this like 12-year-old version of us in one way or the other. And
every single person you talk to has a story from that, whether they were the bully or the bully.
That's right.
They got it from someone else, right? We all have a story from that.
And I think most of the bullies are just reeling from being bullied, who just, are just like, any way we can just put that on that moment, so it ain't on me. Just
exactly.
like, like that's the,
it's just survival.
Yeah. And so it's like, again, it's like, how do we raise these youngsters to at least be, because, in some ways, it's like things have gotten like way softer and like we talk about, like back in the way, be like, suck it up, like, what do you want me to do?
Yeah.
Like, but, but we've also gotten, maybe by approach, like it's like we've tied a ribbon around it and be like, oh, we'll have a conversation. I think navigating things for kids is like way more difficult and everything's online and hidden. And
I don't even want to, oh my God, the whole like online social media, constant comparison. You can be bullied when you're home alone in bed. Like I just
wake
can't
up to
even.
it. And it's like happened before you even get there, for sure. For sure. What would you say to Deb? What would you say to 12-year-old Deb?
My therapist has asked me that several times, and I still don't know an answer to that either. No. I mean, what I would say is, it's not about you. It's just not about you. It's just not about you. You're the unfortunate, receptor for this experience, but it has defined my personality, my identity, more than it ever needed to. It just didn't need to.
Is there any parts of it? Are there any parts of it that were a gift?
Well, like I said, compassion and empathy and understanding for other people.
Yeah, that's not like a throwaway.
No,
dude.
that's huge.
It's like,
and
drive, probably determination, right?
Definitely. We talk about fear being a motivator and things like that. I think that is true. It is also an inhibitor.
I love 12-year-old Deb. Man. I just would do anything.
I'm trying to get back to her. Right?
She's cool as man. And like you didn't bend. You didn't like go try. I don't know.
Look, I mean, my husband has it too. He has this really strong sense of justice and of respect for like each individual person in the way that they need respect, and so I deeply admire that, and he fights hard for himself and for other people and for me, even when I don't want him to, even when I'm like, oh, I'd rather be quieter about this, he like, no, you're not allowed to come at my people like that.
Tell me about him. Tell me about Egypt, man. Let's talk about him.
He's the best. But like even that, like, I remember we were having dinner and like conversations about like spouses and things like that come up. And I notice a lot of people feel very comfortable complaining about their spouse or talking about like the problems that they had with their spouse. And we have problems, we have arguments, we have all of the things that all couples have. But like my gut instinct is I always want to think the best of my husband. And I really want him to always think the best of me. Mm-hmm. Even when we do the wrong thing and the thing that hurts the other person or makes them feel bad. Like I always want him to know that I'm always intending and assuming that he is the best version of himself in every given moment. And I'll say the same to you, because you've said several times in this that like wanting to bring your best self to me and all that. I always assume that you are. That is my base living level. That's where I'm comfortable. And it does sometimes, I think, let take advantage of me and this, that, and the other. But I think my husband's amazing. I really do. And I think that a number of the best things in my life are because of him and the way that he helps push me beyond my boundaries. Because I'm a risk-averse person, I'm very comfortable just settling in, finding my routine, my thing that I like, and I don't push very hard into new things. And so I wouldn't be a parent if it weren't for him. There are places I wouldn't have visited. There are, future plans in our lives that are huge endeavors that I would never think to do. So I think he makes me brave in a lot of ways. Yeah. In fact, for this, my husband does a podcast sometimes. He hasn't done it in a while, but I told him I was nervous to come here and do this. And I was like, so what do you like when, what makes good podcast guests for you?
Yeah.
And, he said, I'm sure exactly what you would say, which is like authenticity, honesty. You don't have to be a great yarn spinner or like tell great stories, because I don't feel like I do that very well. It's just about like being present and talking and being a little vulnerable.
Yeah.
He's cool.